in the upper left here in the blue, going for a gas cancel early hatch here in game number 1 on Babylon. In the upper left, it's Serral. And in the bottom right, in the red for Team Liquid, the Slayer of Raynor recently, it's Clem. And this one, I mean, I don't need to tell you all that this is going to be a fantastic one. It's Serral, it's Clem. I don't know, actually. The head-to-head should work. It seems like the win chance isn't quite working right now, but Serral and Clem have played each other 38 times in Legacy of the Void. And right now, I mean, both of them are going absolutely bonkers. Recently, there was a Reddit post that said, hey, you know, Serral... Let me fix this 1 second. Just realized that always forget to fix this back. That Serral against Terrans, against the top 10 Terran players in the world in the last year, last 8 months or so, since January, he's a 94% win rate against top Terrans, which is just insane. Like, that is Bjorn, Maru, Clem, Hero Marine, whoever else. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone or two. Gumiho, right? Here. And Serral's winning 94% of games. That's kind of insane. But we do have something different. We do have something interesting coming out of the page, coming out of the rulebook, or out of the storybook that Clem wants to tell Serral in this game. And it's a common idea, but it's a different application. So this build, not this build necessarily, but there's this build that has taken TVZ by storm over the last, I don't know, month or so. No, longer than that. Where players are going and they're getting 2 barracks in their wall. And this has fallen off a little bit as this become incredibly popular. And players have started to realize that, okay, maybe we're not just going to only do this. We're going to do other things as well. But Clem is doing this in a different way. Actually, I'm sorry. This is just a 3 racks. I'm talking about this as if, you know, he's building 2 racks, but he's hiding them, so Serral won't expect it. Kind of, except this was a Reaper expand setup, and behind this, just heavy aggression coming out of Clem. 3 barracks before the factory, before the starport here, as Clem just looks to lean into Serral as hard as possible, not let him get into that mid game, and certainly not let him get into that late game, because while late game TVZ, Zergs don't really like it. Once the Terran gets to 3-3-3-3, they get 3-3 on their bio, 3-3 on their mech, they get up to 10 ghosts, they get blue flame on their Hellbats. It becomes really hard for a Zerg to trade cost effectively, but you do something like this, or I should say, but Serral's the king of late game, and he's like he's the one player that when Maru last year, oh, look at the repositioning, just pulling Serral out of position. He's like, look, come on, you can do it, I believe in you. But if there's back last year when Zerg players were complaining about how imba Maru was in the late game, how past 24 minutes, 25 minutes, you literally could not beat him. Serral smashed Maru. He was the only one that could. So even if late game TVZ is rather scary for the Zerg, it's not for Serral. But I do want to point this other thing out, though, that we see Serral doing here, and he's been doing this against Terrans in general, really for the last couple weeks. I don't really have a timeline on when he started it, but anyway, he's been going for this Roach opener, delayed 3rd base, quicker Roach Warren, much quicker lair than normal. In fact, look at this. We have Roach speed already getting started as the Roach is starting to get pumped out. And this is kind of this interesting idea that we see Serral going for. So what this allows, first of all, your tech is slowed, or your economy is slowed down. Your 3rd base very late. Even if you build drones out of it, your economy again pretty late. But you can build these Roaches early, and it puts a lot of pressure on the Terran. It means that any sort of pressure that we see Clem getting ready for right now, which by the way, stim done, combat shields, they're done right now, but already the Overlord's running back home. Serral's gonna lose this creep in the middle of the map, which again is a fun idea, but Roach speed is just about halfway done. It's gonna be ready by the time this push happens in earnest. This push from Clem doesn't really seem like it should work out. Now, Serral is close to being supply blocked here, 80 out of 90. And he does have to be careful about that because stimmed bio is still an incredibly terrifying thing. But now, here we go. Clem's just going to pull the trigger on top of the roaches, and some of them will go down. But Serral, he's going to lose the queen. He's going to lose this overlord. He's going to lose some of the roaches. But that is far better than losing a base. Far better than losing a drone line. Something like that. And that, of course, does mean now that there's this build that Clem has built himself up for, that he spent the last 5 minutes designing, this pressure on 3 racks by delaying your factory, by delaying your starport, delaying your upgrades. I mean, +1 is only just now getting started here. Well, Serral can slap that aside. He can put pressure on his own, and then he drones up behind that, which is just a really solid approach. And now, Clem, he's going to have to play back a little bit. The one thing Serral didn't get away with. He didn't get that creep in the middle of the map. The overlord moving forward with the queen. It was cute. It was a fun play, but it didn't quite work out because Clem just had the perfect timing. But now that Serral's unlocked on the map, he's getting himself 5 and 6 guesses. He's got his 4th base on the way, getting ready for whatever he wants. And I think most likely, yeah, well, hold that thought, because we do have burrow and a roach burrow on the way. I was gonna say, I think we should see an infestation pit drop soon here, because Serral has been playing this roach into just get the hive as quick as possible, move into maybe lurkers, sometimes ultras, but with the ranged upgrades, generally lurkers, and just use those couple infestors to buttress yourself into the mid game. But Serral maybe overstepping here just a little bit. 1 roach will go down, 2nd one as well, so it's trades. But Serral really wants to put pressure onto this 3rd base. He wants to make sure that even if Clem has it up, he's not going to be able to mine from it appropriately. And for now, I don't know that he's going to be able to do too much here. Clem down at 20 army supply, but he's got stemmed Marines. He's got combat shielded Marines. They're kind of okay. Marauders now starting to get worked in. Tanks as well. This is, if Clem just sits here on these 3 bases that he has, it's going to be a hard thing for Serral to really find the value that he wants. So Serral, for now, burrow just about done. Roach burrow just a little bit further off, and that 1-1 timing is going to be behind the Terrans, but not by that much. And of course, behind this, getting ready for more. So Ling speed on the way. Now there's that infestation pit, and we saw dropper lords. Actually, I am assuming, yeah, there we go. Dropper lords on the left side. They're not fast. They are the opposite of fast here. There is no overlord speed, but regardless, they're going to find their way into the main base eventually. Now, Clem is aware of the fact that, yes, roaches do have burrow, so immediately missile turrets are going to go down, but it's a little bit too slow. So roaches pop out into the natural, maybe some pressure at the 3rd base, but there's a drop into the main base as well. And Serral is showing us that even if you're going roaches, which is not by far, Serral, you got to micro your roaches here, friend. That is somewhat useful, and he will burrow up back away. Drop into the main base, though, and this one might have a little bit of power. There are no roaches here. Serral committed himself back down the ramp, so 1 queen's going to go down. And now here come the roaches on the front side of the ramp, but you need to get that tank there, Serral. He's going to knock it down with the Biles tank in the 3rd. Will not fall, though. And this drop on the other side doesn't find the value that it wants. But there we go. That's the infestors. That's the true setup here for this game that Serral's looking for. He's got 2 infestors on the way, 2-2 on the way, but no hive. And that is, again, we talked about the setup. We talked about what Serral wants in this game. We talked about what he's been building the last 9 minutes towards, and it's going to be that hive. It's going to be Adrenal or Vipers or Lurkers, that kind of tech, but he's not there yet. He's just holding down that roach button. He wants to kill his opponent right now or in the next minute or 2. And I don't know that that's going to happen, because this defensive setup that Clem has between the tanks and the Marines and everything else, it doesn't seem like it's something that Serral will easily break. And this double drop out in the main base, in the natural in the 3rd base, or the prospective 4th base, the prospective 5th base of Serral, it's getting enough value that Serral can't move his entire army onto the other side of the map. So there's the hive. There's the Hydra Den. There's that next round of tech. But imagine what Serral could have done if this was a minute faster. Understanding that he wasn't going to be able to make this pressure happen. So Clem finds himself in really not that bad of a situation in this game. I'd love to see a Ghost Academy, but instead It is 6-7 Medivacs getting ready to move into the main base here. And Serral's not ready. This 2-2 is snipeable. This hive is going to go down here. If Clem targets it down for now, it's going to be a dead queen. Drones will fall, and Serral's army's in the middle of the map. He doesn't know what to do here. This hive, this prospective hive, it's taking damage. It's not getting targeted down because Clem understands that he can just kill everything he wants. The hive is dead. 15 drones to the deck. Here's Serral on the other side. That's a great fungal. And in the main base as well, damage is being done. But every little bit of damage that Serral gets here, it's far more by the main army. This centuple drop, this septuple drop that Clem has in the main base, in the natural. It's a dead hive. It's a dead natural here. And hey, go back up. Might as well get the upgrades while you're at it. Certainly the infestation pit will go down, so no more hive. +2 attack will get denied, and that is going to be the extent of it. But Serral loses so much here at the cost of, what was that, 10 SCVs? Clem has bamboozled the man. He's taken it for a boondoggle. And even as Biles will land, Serral doesn't have the ability to reinforce this. Not anymore. He doesn't have a hive. He doesn't have a natural. He's sitting here solidly on 3 hatches. There are no more infestors possible. He can build hydras, certainly, but they're 1-2 hydras. Clem's got 2-2. He's going to be able to start 3-3 whenever he wants. This has been a masterful move from the young Frenchman. And it's not often that we see Serral so caught off guard and, more importantly, so unsure about what he wants to do. As those Biles will land, but again, they don't kill anything. And the key point of the last 2 minutes of this game is that Serral didn't move. He had his army in the middle of the map, solidly, I don't know, 70 army supply of it, maybe more. And he didn't run back home. He didn't run across the map. He did catch some of the army of Clem in the middle, and that's something. But now his tech is so far behind here. He's getting an infestation pit again. He's rebuilt the lair at least. But Vipers, they are far away. Lurkers, same deal here. And this drop from earlier on, well, the Hydra Den Groove Spines should complete. I think, yeah, the Lurker Den's the one that's going to get targeted. 4 lurkers are on the way, and the Hydra Den should fall after this one as well. And by the way, Lings or a spawning pool as well, so no Lings possible here. Now the lurkers get sniped down. A couple more are gonna get, well, they're gonna get done, and they're gonna morph into their doom most likely, but no, not quite there in time. So Clem has to back up for the moment. But what this does, getting those couple lurkers, getting a couple more here, it unlocks this bottom left side base. Serral is counterattacking. He's on the other side. It's the only thing that he can do, and it seems like he's getting some level of value, but the tanks are holding the fortress down here. There are no lurkers that make this easy. So yeah, a couple SCVs fall. And a missile turret, well, that's going to have to get started. That being said, though, these tanks are left behind. Serral, he does finally, he finds the fight. On the left-hand side, he's going to take a lot of economy here. And as much as we've been praising Clem, and much of it as we've been singing doom and gloom about what Serral's been doing, he's still on 3 base. It's not great, but it's something. His army supply is a little up there. He has some lurkers. He's got a hive on the way, and he's broken the economy of Clem in the same way that Clem broke the economy of Serral. Clem does have that 4th orbital, though, or that 4th, really that planetary, that 4th base that he can drop mules on. And that makes up for a lot. Serral has to keep doing this. He needs to buy time. He needs that hive up. He needs those Vipers. But for now, at the very least, he's somewhat mining. Although, as I say that, 2 Medivacs are going to find so many Overlords here. That's even more valuable, realistically, than all the drones. Clem, he's going to just about supply block Serral. And that's a problem when we're talking about Roach, Ravager, Lurker, Hydra, stuff like that. Those are supply-intensive units. Miles are going to be nice. But Clem is now, in more ways, both economically and everything else, has really made it hard for Serral to reinforce. But Serral gets on top of 3 tanks here before much of anything happens. Should get the 4th one as well, but he's not targeting it here, so more shots go down. The Lurker will fall. Clem now kites down. Biles don't land. And as we look at this fight in the late game, there are 14 Medivacs. There are more Medivacs than Marines and Marauders combined, just about. And that means that every single unit has the personal healer. And in these late game, in these scrappy games where no one has any money, no one has any production really, the ability for Clem now to go and make sure none of his units die easily at all is massive. Quite simply, it means that this army, this supply that Clem has made, and by the way, Serral's capped at 130 supply right now. He's lost so many overlords. This base on the bottom left side, it may get sniped here. Now the ghost is going to be the first thing that gets targeted down. And normally I'd say, wow, ghosts are expensive. It's a ghost for a base here. Serral's on 2 hatch. And yeah, Serral's just going to have to tap out here. 5 minutes now of Serral bleeding out desperately, trying to find his way back into this game, but it just does not work. And Serral, he falls down. But Clem plays a masterful game 1. And on the bottom left here in the red, up a game in this series with just 7 Medivacs in the main. It's Team Liquid's Clem. And in the upper left in the blue, down a game in this series. Going for a gas cancel once again. It's Serral. And it is so interesting to me to see this new way that Serral has been playing, because he has been, when we think of Serral, we think of very specific ways of playing. We think of masterful, like these big swarms of lings and late game control and scouting and map vision. And Serral, like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, has totally changed the way he wants to play. He's going for this Eric build, double gas cancel, 15 hatch, 15 pool. In part because getting that early means you have more queens out early. It means you get more larvae out to defend exactly what Clem is doing right now, which is this double barracks in the wall, double reaper type of play that special invented Maru played a little bit and Beyond really popularized, where you get 3 reapers on the map very quickly. You can maybe put the pressure on the 3rd if that's how you want to play it. And the standard 16, 18, 17 doesn't really handle it all that well. It just, you kind of bleed out a little bit. It's not comfortable for the Zerg players. So Serral in particular has adopted this Eric build, the double gas cancel, the gas cancel hatch, gas cancel pool, into the Roach Warren, delay the 3rd base, and get into the late game as quick as possible off that. Get a rather quick infestation pit, although in this last game, the infestation pit was somewhat slow. But get a rather quick infestation pit, go get 2 infestors, because that's enough to one-shot Marines in the current patch. That's going to change soon after that. And just go from there. But for now, Reaper shows up in the main base once again. This is just the first one, though. It really is going to be about the 3 that Clem should have here. And there we go. He's got 2, third one just about done. It's going to be about the 3 that all come together, that really start to put pressure on just a little bit. But here's the thing. Serral does have an overlord in the main base. He's going to see that, yes, this is a 3rd base on the way. He sees the multiple Reapers. So between these 2 things, Serral knows exactly what is happening. The double Rax opener, the 3rd base behind. Now, just because this is a quick 3rd base doesn't mean that Clem doesn't have aggression on the mine. In fact, it can often kind of mean the opposite. As the Reapers now, we're going to look for a little bit of value. 2 3-shotting drones. Yeah, oh, they get 1. Forces 4. Serral misclicked. Serral misclicked. He tried to spore cancel the wrong drone. That was a perfectly happy, a perfectly healthy drone, and he spore canceled it instead of the drone that was getting low. So small things, really small things in the grand scheme. It doesn't make that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but that is uncharacteristic from Serral. We do not see him make mistakes like that really all that much. So again, the same build from Serral. Roach Warren before the 4-minute mark, delayed 3rd base, very quick layer with the first 100 gas. And this build is kind of confusing to look at it first, because you look at this, you say, clearly this is 2-base muta. The gas timings, the layer timings, but it's just for defensive speed roaches. As this queen gets very, very low here, Clem tries to dive on top of it. Is he going to get the queen? No, he doesn't. He tries so hard. Second one, he does there, but it's a 2nd Reaper. This one should fall. He dodges, he dives, he jukes, he looks for the drone. Doesn't get it. But these 3 Reapers, they get a drone and they get a queen. They're trying to get another. Not going to get that one. Well, maybe one more. Serral on the cancel. Okay, he's going to be fine. But Serral just making a couple uncharacteristic mistakes here in the early game. And last game, his army positioning was not the absolute serendipity, or not serendipity, the absolute just incredible, perfect map control that we see out of Serral, where his army is just kind of always where it needs to be. He was stuck in the middle of the map. He didn't know how he wanted to respond for a solid 15 seconds, 10 seconds. And when we're talking about StarCraft, not moving your army for 10 seconds because you don't know what you want to do, that's the difference between winning the game and losing the game right there. So for now, the Overlord getting a nice full scat of everything, sees just about everything that there is to see. The third base done, orbital done, factory done, starport done, reactors. He sees everything. He knows that this is effectively a 2-1-1, and Roach Speed is going to time out just in perfect time for this. We're not seeing Serral try to be quite as cheeky with his creep spread like he was in the last game, but should be in a very nice position here to make sure that he is okay. I don't think... Yeah, the Reaper didn't get much of anything, but now double drop into the main base here. Now Queen and Roaches are properly in position, so this should be fine. Not a single Marine goes down, though. Nice save there from Clem. And as this drop has mostly been rebuffed, I mean, it's still going to put some pressure on the map, maybe kill some of this creep that Serral's been really trying hard to make. At this point, Serral can take his fourth base. He's rebuffed the first kind of dose of Terran pressure, and that means that he's going to be okay for a moment. He's going to be free on the map for a moment, and this time, his 1-1 is well-timed. In fact, maybe just a little bit faster than the Terrans, and most importantly, he's going for that very quick burrow and roach burrow as well, which... Yeah, I saw people talking about how this is just Dark Style, and that is not quite true. Dark Style would be very quick infestation pit into those infestors, get the double infestor play, kill off a bunch of Marines like that. That's what you want to do. Serral is more content to play in the mid game here. He is more content to spend a lot of gas on Roach Burrow, on Burrow movement, or on Burrow and Roach Burrow movement. Get maybe a Dropper Lord, again 25 extra gas, just a little bit more power, and try to play this game a little bit more multi-pronging than most players would normally do, or than Dark say would normally do. So we're gonna see that here as Roach Burrow movement is now done. Tunneling Claws done pretty much right at the proper timing. So Roach's Burrow on the right side, Dropper Lord, or on the left side, Dropper Lord on the right as Clem tries to find his way in. He assassinates the Queen. But pay attention right now. Oh, that's unfortunate. In the nick of time here, Clem saw it, so the Roaches won't find their way into the natural, but they will find their way into the main base, seems likely, and the third base is still viable if Serral ever decides to go and make that happen. But the missile turret's now done, so these Roaches will fall, but into the main base it's kind of undefended. In fact, the armory is going to get shut down for just a little bit, so a couple drones will go down, and Serral on the multi-prong here. He's sitting in the front at the same time. He'd love to hit 3 bases, right? He'd love to have that pressure into the natural as well, but even still, this is fairly nice. The Roaches find their way out, at least 2 of them there. Oh, yeah, it seems like 2 of them, but 2 scans had to get dropped. That's expensive, and a Roach is going to get out anyways. So only a single Roach died from that one. Now 4 Roaches try to find their way into the naturals again. Serral looks to put pressure on, gets on top of the Ling, or the Marines on the left side. Tank will finally fall. But Serral behind this, he's got his infestation pit done. There is more method to this madness than just Roaches and Burrow and Dropper Lords and things. Serral has more room to go. He's got his 2-2 on the way. He's putting enough pressure on that a septuple drop to go kill Serral is less likely in this game. Infestors now on the way, and we should see that Hive getting started pretty much as Serral has gas. So this game going a lot nicer for the Finnish Phenom than really any of the previous, really than game 1. But now we get to see what exactly Clem has in response here. So the Roaches, well, they're just kind of alone. Ravagers have to get microed backwards. It's 4 Medivac, so really not going to happen. Not going to find all that much. But the big deal is Infestors only just now popped. They don't have pathogen glands, and this is not the new proposed balance patch where they pop up with enough energy for fungal. They just don't have it. So Infestors are going to have to wait another 15 seconds or so before they are truly useful, and that is time that, well, Clem can be active on the map. So 4 Medivacs into the main base here, and a single Roach cannot defend this. So it's going to have to be more units deputized, and again, Serral's going to make the defense happen this time. And given the style that Serral is playing, I really do prefer the way that, or the style that, the composition that Serral's playing, I really do prefer this style that Serral's actually playing with. It just, you don't need to take posture on the middle of the map with your entire army. It's gonna be fine. Just go and drop the fungals on the Marines. One infestor will go down, and actually that's a high energy infestor, so instead of sniping every single Marine that was there, that would have been a lot. A decent amount of this army of Clem gets out. It could have been so much worse, but this Medivac is a little low here. It's gonna go down with Marines inside, and that does shove things back a little bit. Meanwhile, Roaches on the right side here. They're going to find some of Clem's army, and Clem has to back up. Roaches, I think, yeah, they just ran through into the natural, I guess. They got to get on top of this tank. Though, one more shot. No, they're just going to kill the tank. That's fine. And in the natural, more damage. Serral outside of this base, though. Whoa, that's a low infestor, but it's going to stay alive now. Roaches unburrow. Burrow once again. This tank positioning from Clem. Dynamite. Disgusting. Horrifying. And Serral, he's just not there yet. He's got his hive. But do we have any Vipers? We do not, and the Lurker Den's not done. So yes, 2-2 is done here. The true timing that Serral's looking for is not ready just yet. Infestors, or excuse me, Roaches on the bottom side, though. They're going to pop up right on top of these tanks, eat the damage, kill the tanks, and the Roaches and the Hydras from the other side. Every single one of these tanks should go down, at least the very majority of them. And by the way, these Roaches on the other side are continuing to find value. 18, 19, 20 drones hit the deck, or 20 SCVs hit the deck here. And Clem doesn't have his fourth. He's starting to try to get it right now. But all of a sudden, Serral is rampant. He's ascendant in this game. He's finding so much value. In fact, if we look at resources lost, I half expected it to be within 500 minerals, but 1,800 resources. Over the course of 12 minutes when you're playing Roaches, that's really solid. But here come more Roaches here. Now the bird Roaches in the natural, yeah, they're gonna have to run away, but Roaches pop up in just a second. They're gonna get a tank. Gotta be careful there. Is well, more scans get dropped, but the other thing about this is a lot of scans. This is a significant number of scans that Clem has spent to make sure that he knocks these Roaches down, and that's economy. That is implicit economic damage. And look at what Serral's doing right here. 6 dropper lords. Is he gonna drop 12 lurkers in Clem is he gonna drop 12 lurkers in Clem's main? Is that gonna be the play? Because I would be so happy if that's the case. I truly don't know exactly what's gonna happen here, but for right now, it's lurkers on the map. They have seismic spines. They don't have burrow. They don't have tunneling claws. Not just yet. But they will get there eventually. And there we go. Not all the dropper lords are full. Serral only has 7. Only 7 lurkers in those dropper lords, but 7 is more than enough to just shut down all the production of the Terran, especially as we only just barely are starting to see ghosts on the field right now. And Infestor's ready from the right side. Oh, it hits center mass here. It actually could have been better, but still very, very nice. And here comes the dropper lord in the main base. Marines trying to get on top of this, but who cares? It's a bunch of lurkers. Have fun there, Clem. I mean, it's not going to feel great. Saving grace is that there is a tank outside of range, but these Marines, there's some cities working against them here, especially if Serral targeted things down appropriately, but still 10 workers go down, and Serral at the front as well here, wreaking havoc on this economy, wreaking havoc on the production of Clem. And Serral has, yeah, he just killed Clem. That's it. Serral plays 13 minutes for 1 timing, and he hits there with the roach drop, with the lurker drop, excuse me. What a way to tie it up. We're now 1-1. And the bottom left now in the blue. Once again, tying the series up, going for that 15 hatch. It's Serral. And the upper right in the red for Team Liquid. It's Clem. And as we get here into our 3rd game of this series, if you like this and you want more games with Serral and Clem and Raynor and Maru and Hero and Bjorn and the rest of all of your favorite players, make sure to hit the sub button below this video so you can make sure that you don't miss out on all the awesome Starcraft that goes up 5, 6, 7 days a week on this channel. And of course, like the video, that really does help. And also, let me know how you feel about this new style that we see coming out of Serral here. The Eric build, right? gas cancel, 15 hatch, get a Roach Warren, do all sorts of crazy things. And of course, if you want to catch me live, twitch.tv/BeoMulf, often going live 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesdays, Thursdays at the very least, afternoons on Saturdays and Sundays as I have the time. But that's all I'm going to say about that, because we have a different build coming out of Clem here in this game number 3. For all the world, if Serral's going to take a look at the natural, he's going to see the special build, the Beyond build, the Maru build, this 2 barracks in the wall, not a proxy, but Reaper pressure. He's not going to see, well, as I say that, did he see that? No, he didn't. I thought I saw a blue dot on the bottom right side. He's not going to see this 3rd barracks. The fact that we're now looking at 3 Rax Reaper coming out of Clem of all people. That's surprising. Clem is not one to proxy. And actually, as we see Clem doing this, this is really exciting if you're a Clem fan, because I think the one thing that has kept Clem back is kind of the same idea that we saw Serral lean into after his dominance in 2019, where he realized that, you know what? Yeah, I'm really good as a couple drones get rather low. He didn't get one. Okay. But still, that's about a drone's worth of cancel cost. Anyway, he started to realize that, yeah, I'm really good. No one's going to beat me in the standard game, but I need to flex things out a little bit. I need to have more than just, I am playing macro. Hardy, har. Let's have fun. And so he started to play with more all-ins and more pressure builds. They didn't quite work, but they did eventually bring Serral to a scarier position than we've ever seen. Seeing Clem do this now in his own brand is great, as 1 Reaper goes down, but the queens are so low. 1 will fall, 2nd one, well, oh man, Clem hit right before it had the energy for a transfuse. Now it does, but it's the low one, so who cares? It's going to inject instead. And now Reapers think about finding their way into the main, but that is 1 dead queen, and we don't have a 3rd. The Roach Warren's done, but no roaches on the way until right now. This Reaper pressure can be very oppressive, but at least Serral kind of knows what he's dealing with right now, if only because there are 5 Reapers in his main base. Drones are falling. He's got to pull them, and so many queens are also low. If Clem does this right, he can kill every single one. 1 goes down, 2 go down, and now here come the roaches, but are they too little, too late? Seems like that answer is no. Seems like they will save this 3rd and final queen. The court will be rampant, will be resplendent in the glory of the roaches, but even still, it's 2 queens dead. Even still, the royal court heavily diminished. And now the queen, it's Queen Marguerite in her swaddling robe, sitting there trying to rule an empire and not ready for it, not just yet. No advisors. And look at what Clem's doing behind this. My goodness, I'd love to see like stim and concussive maybe out of Clem here. There's concussive at the very least. He's building 2 Marauders at a time as he floats his 3rd barracks back home here. This pressure out of Clem is so cool. This is so out of the ordinary. And we talked about how Clem plays the same thing over and over again. It's to the point where I look at a Clem game, and before kind of looking at this game and maybe the last couple series, it's like, yeah, he's going to go Reaper. Oh, nice surround there from Serral. He's going to get a lot of damage on those Reapers. But before this, like the last couple series we've seen Clem play, you knew Clem was going to go Reaper expand into Hellions, into a 3rd base, into Banshees. He was going to play Hellion Banshee, and that was 9 games out of 10. Seeing Clem show so many different looks here in this series against Serral is so awesome if you're a fan of Clem. But Serral just wants to bust him. He says, this is fine. Like, I know you've committed to this. You have a lot of Reapers here. I don't think you can hold on against the unfettered might. And also, maybe I've taken a little bit too much damage. And now the Biles are not going to get the bunker. So the bunker goes up, single SCV repairing. But Serral can sit right outside of range here, continue to drop Biles on the face. But concussive shells are done. The Ravager, once it joins the fray, really struggles to leave. And the bunker stays alive. So now, this Ravager is just getting low. So, of course, Serral does find damage elsewhere. We will see the barracks start to burn a little bit. This is more of an opening, but this army from Clem does feel something that he can maybe sally forth, but here come more roaches now. SCVs are going to have to get pulled here. The bunker goes down pretty much immediately, but Clem, he's just going to buffer with the SCVs. They're going to hold the line here and behind with the Banshee, with everything else. Serral, he's trying to find his way, and 9 SCVs hit the deck, but I don't think this is going to work out at all. Yes, eventually, some SCVs will go down, but this Banshee, second one, actually, we don't have a second one. It's just the one here. Clem not buying more. It doesn't have the money for it, I guess. Maybe the lack of a second Banshee might be enough for Serral to really crush on through. He's starting to really get damage done here. 17 SCVs go down, but Lings don't have speed. And these Roaches, they're just going to get kited out for forever against these Marauders. So eventually this gets killed. Eventually this will get dealt with between the Marauders, the Marines, the Banshees. And now we got to take stock. So one barracks will get very low. It's going to start to burn. Needs a repair. Actually, just goes down. So now down to 2 barracks. And the Slowling rally, I don't think it did all that much. But as we take stock of things, at the end of the day, Clem's in a pretty good spot, right? Serral does not have a third base. He's only on 28 drones. He's building more. He's building more Roaches. He just wants this. He is committed to ending this game right now. Come hell or high water, this game's ending the next 2 minutes. And he's just not going to allow it to go really past that early to mid game. So he's got the lair now. All right, that's a powerful thing. He doesn't have roach speed. This is just for Anitis. This is just to ideally slam this build home in a Clem's face with the queens. Only 2 queens though. So with proper target fire here, this Banshee can still reign supreme. And I don't know how much I like this out of Serral. I mean, I guess he feels like he had to do something. Clem has already surpassed his worker count. But there's a world now where Clem gets punished really hard because he's got his third base on the way. And that might be just a little bit too greedy. We're going to have to see. But for now, well, if Clem scouts it immediately, I don't think that is going to be too greedy. But he does have to pull his units over. Clem, you see it here, friend, but you're just not pulling units in time. First Nidus pops up here. Second one on the way. Clem, not feeling confident, I guess. Wants to drag the army back into the tanks, I guess. He does have a Medivac now. That does help. SCVs have to get pulled once again. Clem can afford to lose SCVs. That's gonna be okay. He just needs to survive here. 11 more SCVs will hit the deck, but that just equalizes the supply. And now we're starting to see things go down. Yes, we will see the tanks fall. And that's something here. But the Banshees, they just need to be repaired. The Banshee needs to be repaired here. It's only 2 queens. And yes, the Roaches and the Ravagers, they continue to find their way in, but it's there's not a lot being made out of this from Clem, or from Serral, excuse me. And Clem, his economy's still okay. Like, it's still maybe not better than the Zergs at this point, but it's still okay. It's still manageable. And Queen's now starting to fall down. First one falls, second one dead, and now the Banshee reigns supreme here, so long as the Bile doesn't hit it. And look at what Clem's doing here, just trying to find. Oh, he body blocks the Ravager in. Oh, he does. He had to do it to him. He had to do it to him there. Extra Ravagers just dies because the SCVs hug the Nidus. Don't let him go through. You don't find your way through the butthole like that. Not at all. So now Clem still finds himself down a couple workers, but that third base will eventually complete. That's 3 SCVs at a time. Double mules, triple mules at a time here. So it does feel like Serral is rapidly running out of steam. Stim's now done. Combat shields, they are lacking, of course. Clem, his economy isn't good, but it's holding its own with Serral. That really is the big deal here. His Biles will at least force the liftoff of that barracks, and that's no more production. So that's a big deal. And really the big deal right now is that Clem can't build any more Marauders. He can't build any units that slow as easily. He can't build any. Clem, you got to repair this Banshee. I know you're a good micro god, but there's a queen out now. Like, just repair the Banshee. Repair it. Or the queen's gonna get creeped out in the middle of the map here. Bunker on the high ground. Tank now on the way. First one's done, and now that's a dead. Well, that's actually 1 dead Ravager. Somehow still things are staying alive. And the Banshee, I can't believe this thing is still alive. It just seems objectively wrong. Even still, we get to see whether Serral's finally gonna, or whether Serral's finally gonna break him. Now Biles again will force the barracks to lift and run away, fight again another day. And a second queen has found its way onto the other side, but every time the queens aren't just sitting beneath all the Ravagers. Ravagers will go down. Now Clem gets on top. 1 queen goes down, second one as well, and Serral immediately taps out. Serral's been alive in part because he had queens. Doesn't have that anymore. That Banshee will kill everything. No shot. No chance that Serral stays alive. Clem, he goes up 2-1 in this series. Now 1 map away from moving on to the next round. And with all the different type of stuff. In the bottom left now, in the blue. Down a game, but not out of it. Not yet. It's Serral. And in the upper right, in the red. Up 2 games to 1 on a really cool proxy Reaper play. It's Clem. And if we get Clem in this form, we get Clem feeling really confident to try a bunch of different stuff against Serral. That's a deep run we're looking at. And remember, it did seem that Clem kind of turned a bit of a corner in Gamers 8. He finally, did he take down Maru or did he just play Maru closely? I'm forgetting. But good news here, if you are fans of late game, fans of globe spanning, or at least map spanning games, we're not seeing Serral doing the weird thing, the Eric build that he's done in the previous 3 games in this series. We're not seeing 2 barracks in a wall come out of Clem. We're just seeing... it's kind of funny. Like, we look at this game, it's like, okay, they've thrown their punches. They've thrown their weird stuff at each other. And now, with Clem on match point, Serral is just playing the most comfortable style. His back's against the wall. And Clem, oh, is he gonna get it? Yeah, he's gonna delay this base. Oh, Clem, you dirty devil. That's just gross. And yeah, there's gonna be, yeah, no, not at all. It's a free drone. Serral just gifted it, donated it to him, sat right there on the gas and said, no, you don't get to take that. Because of course the way that works is if you go and you, what's the word? If you go and you sit yourself on the extractor, the drone can't, there's not enough space actually for the or excuse me, on the gas guys, there's not enough space for the extractor to go and properly get itself set up, so the drone just sits there and it dies. So Clem knows that one and just, he gets the free drone. He delays the 3rd base of Serral. Actually, really not all that much realistically. It was about 200 minerals when Serral lost the drone, so it wasn't super delayed, but it was annoying. And actually now Serral, he had to gas cancel himself for a second right there, right? Yeah, he had to gas cancel. He just got himself supply blocked on 36. And that is, this entire series has been one of Serral playing, making some uncharacteristic mistakes. I think that is fair to say. He has been, well, he's been spore canceling a drone that wasn't low and losing a drone. He has lost a queen he shouldn't have. He has gotten himself supply blocked at 36 because things got slowed down. And I think realistically, Serral doesn't look quite as good as he normally does. Certainly not as good as he did at Gamers 8 when he looked incredible, or even in Masters Colosseum in Group A when he topped his group, which I would like to remind you all was a group that had Maru and who else? Was it Maru and Cure? Had Maru and one other really good player at the very least. Classic. I think it had Classic in it. Anyways, it was kind of an insane. Kind of an insane play. Or kind of an insane run, I guess. But this playoff run, I don't know what it is. Serral woke up late, wrong side of the bed, but this is just not the Serral we're used to seeing. And some of these we can attribute to Clem's pressure, right? 6 Reapers in your main. It's hard to keep queens alive, but some of them, or drones alive, but some of them are just not what we expect out of them. They don't really feel like forced errors. There's something that if you are a world champion, if you are a tournament champion, as an N-tuple tournament champion, as Serral is, you should be able to do these things. Clem, though, there we go. moving the orbital, maybe just it's a scouting orbital. Moved a little bit too far forward. But for now, we talked about the build that Serral's been doing the last couple games, where it's roaches, it's ravagers, it's roach burrow and burrow movement very quickly, or burrow and burrow movement very quickly into the infestors, into whatever Serral wants out of his hive. This game is the game that we are used to seeing. Baneling nest done, timed out perfectly with the hive, so Baneling speed should get started immediately here as Clem gets ready to push. But for now, queens are on the front line. They're transfuses. This overlord will not fall, at least not for the moment. And these marines, they don't have upgrades yet. They shouldn't really be able to knock these queens down, not as Serral's got 7 of them in the front lines. I mean, good luck. He does have to pull some of them back eventually to make sure he has his injects properly. He's got 7 at the front, 9 in total, and 4 bases, so you do the math on that one. But behind this, Serral is growing. He's got his creep spread is massive. He's got his 1-1 on the way, Baneling speed halfway done. He's a very happy Zerg. He's got pretty much everything that he could want, and that means that this game, well, this could go a ways. And when I think of Serral being an awesome player, I mean, this is what I think of. I think of his stalwart defense, getting to the late game, winning late games against literally the best late game Terran in the world in Maru. So this is Serral's bailiwick, but it's also Clem's. Clem loves this I was gonna say type of pressure game, like with bio and rallying forward, playing against Mutiling or playing against Ling Bane. But Clem is he's kind of skipping that a little bit. Well, not entirely. It's not a 4th base on the way, but it is a 2nd factory. And with tanks getting made here, it does seem like Clem is kind of surrendered to the fact almost that, well, Serral's creep spread's really good. He's showing a lot of Lings. Baneling speed's going to be done eventually. This is Ling Bane. He's not going to be able to go and really properly go on a big tempo play. But as I say that, he gets a queen, maybe gets a couple more. That tank position's really nice. But Serral, he's got this around pretty much all ready to go here. Waiting maybe for the upgrades, but yeah, no, he's just going to pull the trigger. I thought he was going to pull the trigger right now. In fact, Clem stems on top here. This base getting low. Drones pulled away. But here comes Serral. Moving in from the right side, the left side at the same time. Tanks will fall. Banelings, not many of them get targeted down. And yeah, you know, bit of an anti-timing. 10 seconds before Carapace is done. But Serral's fine with that. It really wasn't that expensive of a trade, all things considered. He's on 73 drones. He can build more. And a hive's already getting started. Serral, he's happy. He's healthy. He's moisturized. He's thriving. So how does Clem crack this open now? That really, more than anything else, is the big question. I mean, Hive is just about 2/3 of the way done here. It's always funny seeing Hive complete. Oh, that's a big Widow Mine. That's a juicy one. But how many kills did this have? 18. Not bad. But anyway, it's always funny to see Hive complete before 2/2 upgrades for the Zerg. It just feels a little wrong. But anyways, Hive is now done. We should see Adrenal get started very quickly. Vipers getting added in very quickly here. So for now, nice target fire there. Gets a Baneling before being forced to back up, run away. A couple Marines will go down though, so something of a trade. But the big deal now is that Clem will have his 2/2 done before Serral. So we will have that timing where he's got better upgrades. He's gonna have drilling claws as well for additional Widow Mines. And we should point this out, by the way. This is double factory, right? We saw that get made. It seems like Clem wanted to go double tank at a time, but he swapped over because this is just pure Ling Bane. He's building 3 Widow Mines at a time. He's gonna have that drilling claws really quickly. And against pure Ling Bane, I mean, that is very hard for Serral to deal with the Widow Mine. So for now, Clem finds his way in. Couple Lings filtering forward, trying to drag the Widow Mines on forward here. But it's going to be some fairly solid friendly fire. And that will force Clem back once again. And every time Clem's forced back, well, the creep moves forward. Vipers start to hit the field here. Adrenal gets closer to completion. 2/2 gets closer to completion. But, well, for Clem, it means his 2/2 is done in 3, 2, 1. That's a great baneling, though. That was 2/3 of the drop. Just goes right on down. Now, Widowmine drop on the, well, what is this? Third base, the fourth base, the left side base. And Widowmine goes off. Will eventually get targeted down. Now, we've dropped elsewhere, though. Queens should be able to knock this thing down. Not the Widowmine, certainly not, but maybe the Medivac can now drop elsewhere. Actually, there's no Medivacs in it. So the first round of the Widowmine drops, which we've seen get 30 drones on occasion. 40, maybe. Yeah, just Zergs can totally die to this sometimes. It's not going to get much at all. And now here comes Serral once again up the gullet. That's a great drag on the Widowmine. But maybe there are more where that come from. Yes, there are Widowmines. Oh, that's great connections with the Banes. All of a sudden, it's 2 low Widowmines. All that remain here. And the Viper thinks about running forward. Is it a Parasitic Bomb? Oh, great friendly fire once again. And Parasitic Bomb goes down on the Medivac. I feel like you'd love to just see blinding clouds and make the Marines kite themselves into the Banelings if they're not paying attention. That could be very nice. But regardless, Serral understands this pressure that his opponent's putting on him, so might as well run by. Go onto the north side of the map here and force Clem to commit one way or the other. Back home or on the map, but for now, Serral's the one that has to push forward here off a creep. Queens will get one Liberator. Widowmine, ooh, very, very close. Very close to going off. But now 11. Oh, no. That's a Viper that goes down. Serral pulls himself a little bit too far forward. And yeah, Parasitic Bomb, but it's on one unit and it doesn't get the rest of the Medivac. So Serral almost got a great surround, almost got a lot of value, but instead can't do much. He had to pick up Go Home. Widowmines, well, they're not going to do anything. The Banelings will kill them off on the north side here. And well, ooh, that's gonna be a juicy Widowmine. It does fall, but that was still a lot of Lings that just went down. And Serral's supply, he doesn't have much of a bank. And it's not like his supply is permanently maxed right now. But this is the army that Serral's been trying to build for the last 12 minutes of this game, going for that quick hive, going for Lingbane, and getting stuff up onto 5, 6 bases, Vipers and Lurkers and Bane, or Vipers and Hydras and Banes, all to just play this mid-game fighting, well, this early late game fighting composition. And now that's a good fight here. Lings get on top of a bunch of overstim Marauders. They shred them. They die. But not as much anymore because 3-3 just completed. Like, great timing there from Serral to hit it right before 3-3 is done. But now he's on 2-1-2. I mean, it's something. But we really do need to see more out of Serral here. We need to find some way to just do away with this relentless pressure that Clem's been putting on the map for like the last 10 minutes. Serral hasn't really felt any leeway, and he's never taken a fight that really allows him to hit backwards hard. So for now, Widowmines again go off. Serral drags them, and it's just Marauders here. So if the Lings get on top of this, it may be nice, but with Marines behind, kiting just a little bit further back, Serral's going to be forced back once again. And do my eyes deceive me? No, my eyes do deceive me here. It looked like, I was thinking for a second that Clem had more bases than Serral did, but Serral's got his 7th on the way. Clem has 6. Not bad. Certainly not bad at all. So I have to see. Oh, that Widowmine on the Viper. Widowmine's on the Banelings as well. Serral, he just keeps committing up these ramps and is just not able to take the fights that he needs. And it feels like more often than not here, I mean, a Parasitic Bomb here could be really nice. Widowmine goes off, just gets a couple Banes. It feels like Serral just is fighting front to back, and his composition is not designed to fight front to back. That's kind of the problem right now, where it's Lings, Banes, they're filtering in. Clem is kiting them around corners. Zergs hate corners. When what we need to see Serral doing, I think, is kind of just hit this around. Hit from multiple angles, make it really hard for Clem to just micro back, put the Marauders in front as that wall fight backwards as well as you can. So for now, I mean, Lurkers are finally on the field, but they don't have seismic spines, so they don't have that range advantage. And it's kind of unfortunate for Serral that big Lurker timing that you think about, it doesn't actually arrive. Widowmines get a little bit more. it doesn't quite arrive in the way that he would like. But Serral now, oh, nice target fire there on the Widowmine. Serral on this left side is finding value, but on the right side, he's going to lose a base, I think. No, never mind. He does have a response. Loses actually not all that much. Nice response there from Serral. I really thought Serral was going to lose that bottom right base. But now, seismic spines are done. And, well, Lurker Burrow just about done here as well. So, right side base, this should get killed here with the Lings, with the Banelings just to zone out any sort of SCV power. That's a dead base from dead base from Clem. But what Serral is really missing more than anything, on top of, you know, maybe burrowed infestors or just burrow in general, he needs creep back here. He has no, this base that he's trying to take, he has no creep connecting to it. So it's a lot easier for Clem to really attack into than it would otherwise normally be, and that's a bit obnoxious. Anyway, now Serral on the right side, taking a pretty solid position, but on the left side, Overlords, they're going to get sniped down here, and I think Serral just loses the base. I said that about the bottom right, but this one, the army's just not there, not ready. And Serral actually brings his entire army over. Widow Mines, they're going to be okay, actually. They're not going to be incredible. The Lings now just try to filter their way forward. EMPs, 2 Vipers go down. Serral just not controlling his Vipers well enough. Which is, again, unfortunate to see, but this is the third Viper, I think, that we've seen him just run over the Terran army, have it get sniped down, really find no value. That's really not what we want to see, especially in a $40,000 tournament. It's like a $41,377 tournament if you convert the yuan into USD. That's not what we want to see out of Serral. But for now, he's going to try to bust the wall down a little bit. He does get a couple supply depots. That's something. He got his 3/3 halfway, or his +3, his additional 2 +3 attack upgrades are going to go down. But this game for the last couple minutes now has been in a kind of a tug of war, which is interesting because this is how both players opened. Clem and Serral, they took the first 5 minutes deciding that they wanted to get to this game stage. Serral, he went Ling Bane, Baneling Nest, all about getting himself to that late game, and we saw Clem do the same thing, like third base, Hellion Banshee, just that very standard play that drags you into games like this. So they're there, and it really does seem like for the moment Clem is just taking the advantage of it. He's taking this late game just a little bit better. Serral tries to run in, he abducts some Liberators, but they just don't fall. And behind this, well, Serral loses more than Clem did once again, as on the left side. There we go. As on the left side here, bases will fall. It's going to be 2 dead hatcheries coming out of Clem, but Clem, he does have to be careful. As much as we're talking about how Serral's in a little bit of a pickle right now, he's got infestors on the field, and one big fungal popping out can do so much here. Yeah, EMP goes down, it kills off everything, but that is actually going to be like 1 ghost going down. He needed the second fungal, he needed to chain it, but just didn't have the opportunity. I thought that was going to be maybe not a game-ending fungal, but just an incredible fungal. And instead it was something. How often is it you see a game where the Terran has the bank and the Zerg doesn't at 19 minutes? Kind of crazy here. Now Lings again are going to find their way forward, and yeah, Liberators against Lings aren't great, but they're killing the tech units. They're killing the Viper, or they're killing the Hydras. They're killing the Banelings. And Serral has to bring pretty much his entire army up. Meanwhile, on the, seems like a Baneling got a pretty decent. Oh, that's a good one. That is in fact a juicy meatball. So random Widow Mines on the left side doing God's work. And in the middle of the map here, we're gonna have to see what Serral can make happen. He desperately needs to crack a base from Clem, but it's not gonna be this one. Not with the SimCity as it is. We're gonna have to see exactly how Serral can punch back. Now Banelings are gonna run forward, but the Vipers got EMP'd, and they're just not useful right now. Serral, attempting to run by on the left side. Planetary's not done just yet, but there it is. And now SCVs can repair. Meanwhile, on the right side, a base falls once again, and Clem has money to repair. Serral just taps out. Instead of slowly bleeding out, he just decides to lose the game right there. And as much as this is awkward, I can't blame him. It didn't feel like he was ever able to make something happen. And Clem just pulled one over on Serral in the most disgusting way. Clem is good right now, guys. Clem is real good.